Before Heihachi was revealed to be the third DLC character for Tekken 8, people were convinced to the fact that Marduk would be the next DLC characters, mostly because of the leaks that were surfacing all over the internet. However, that turned out to be wrong. But why exactly were people dreading the fact that Marduk was going to be in the game? There seems to be a very recent hate towards Marduk recently, and just why exactly is this? Would he break the game? Would he break Tekken 8? And just how exactly would this man be toxic in the game? Let's talk about it. First, let's talk about Marduk's infamous tackle. So Marduk had a tackle that he could access from his Veil 2 stance. So the thing had pretty good range, pretty good tracking. It actually had its hitbox buffed as well. So before, the counterplay was jumping over it and launching him, but since it got its hitbox buffed, this thing could just clip you even in the air. It was just so difficult to deal with. And the worst part is the fact that it had a 4-frame break window. 4-frame break window. So if the tackle actually hit you, he had 3 options from this. He had the 1+3 option, you could break with the 1. He had the 2+4 option, you break with the 2, and a 1+2 option, you'd break with 1+2. So this did over 50 damage. You guess wrong, you get 50 damage. Now I say guess because Marduk could actually cancel his arm. So he could fake out his left arm and throw out his right arm, right? Fake out his right arm, throw out his left arm. So you could actually react to this in terms of which arm he would use, but the problem is he could cancel. So this made it just a guessing game, right? And like I said, the tackle was a 4-frame window, but it was just so inconsistent. I don't know if this was a balancing issue, this was a bug, but at times you could just not break this goddamn tackle. It was so difficult to deal with, even at the highest of levels. No one really consistently broke Marduk's tackle, and this is why people are scared of Marduk in Tekken 8, or at least one of the reasons. Tackle in Tekken 8 would be intoxicating, right? Grabs right now are very strong. Grabs are pretty good tracking or pretty decent tracking, especially command grabs or special grabs like Dragon of Tackle, for example. You have counter hit grabs and unbreakable in some situations, so tackle would be hella busted in Tekken 8 unless it was reworked. So this is one of the, if not the main reason as to why Marduk is so feared, or why they don't want him back in Tekken 8. So I touched upon why grabs were so strong in Tekken 8. Well, Marduk had a perfect grab game in Tekken 7. He had a throw for each of his arms, and because it's Marduk, 2 of his throws actually took him into his mount status, which again you had to guess, and if you guessed wrong, you would eat 60 damage. 60 damage because you guessed wrong from a throw. Yeah, that's definitely balanced. And to make things worse, Marduk had the highest damaging throw in the game, forward 1+2, which was a combo starter that had an unscaled follow-up on the ground. This dealt like 70 to 80 damage. Pretty ridiculous. Like, Marduk hit like a freaking truck in this game. Now just imagine all these throws transitions to Tekken 8. Yeah, you tell me right now that you want to deal with this shit. Yeah, believe me, you don't. And it doesn't even end there. Marduk could actually throw you off of the ground, which brings us to our next section, Marduk's insane Okizeme. Marduk without a doubt had the best Oki in the game. This man could still launch you even if you stayed on the ground and guessed wrong. He could launch if you got up from the ground in a certain way. He had tackle Oki at the wall. He could spike you on the ground as well, hit you on the ground as well. Like, he could do everything. It was just so difficult. It just felt like a guessing game the entire time. So let's break everything down, starting with his normal Oki from his grab spike. So Marduk had an air grab that would spike the opponents on the ground, and he could have some good setups off of this. For example, if he spiked you from his air grab and you got up with back, he could launch you with a down forward 1. It would clip you. If you stayed on the ground, you had to guess between his ground throw, which would launch you, or spike you again for like 35 damage, which was like a lot. If you got up straight up, he could hit you with down forward for 1+2, or grab you from the back as well with forward 1+2. So like, this Oki was just ridiculous. It was so good. Just felt like a guessing game every single time. He had tackle Oki as well, either full screen or at the wall. So full screen, you could do like a combo, end it with forward 3, 1+2, then just run at you, like full screen run at you. So if Marduk runs at you from full screen, he could automatically do a tackle, and this gave him like the just frame input break, so it was almost impossible to break. So he could do a combo, end it with forward 3, 1+2, which would create enough space for him to just run at you and tackle you. If you stayed on the ground, he could run up and stomp you, or run up and grab you again. So he could run up and grab, which would put you in a guessing game again. You guess wrong, you get launched, or you guess wrong, you get spiked again for 35 damage. He had some good tackle Oki at the wall as well. He could do like a down back 3 cancel into tackle Oki, which was just pretty stupid. And he still had the grab game Oki as well at the wall. So there's a guess between either him launching you again or spiking you for like unscaled 35 damage off of a combo. Mind you, he juggles you to the wall, then sets up Oki in a combo. It's not even a reset, it's in a combo. You just had to guess. So combo into wall carry into guess. You guess wrong, you get launched again. You guess wrong, you get spiked for unscaled 35 damage. It was just a casino of guessing games with Marduk. Now transition all of this stuff to Tekken 8. This is a game that's focused on aggressiveness. This is a game that encourages hit. So imagine all this Oki. This man takes you to the wall, makes you guess. You guess wrong, boom, activates hit, which is probably a rage drive tackle, right? Gives you this tackle, you guess wrong, you get 50 damage again, right? It's so stupid, and this would be so detrimental. It would be so damaging. So insane grab game, tackle spam, and Oki as well in Tekken 8, Marduk would be a menace. And this is another reason as to why people don't want this character to make it in Tekken 8. Marduk's rage drive was downright broken. It was basically his tackle without the need of having to go into his Veltudo stance first, and the opponent couldn't even break the initial part of the tackle. It just guaranteed only hit into guess for your life or die. It gave you unscaled damage. It could give you like what, 70, 80 damage from just a normal tackle into a follow-up. It was so broken. There was no counterplay to this. If Marduk had rage, just block for your life. That was how he defended against this rage drive. Now I'm talking about rage drives when there aren't any rage drives in Tekken 8. Well, many of the characters in Tekken 8 have their hit mechanic revolving around their rage drives, or had their rage drives implemented into their hit mechanics. So Paul the Death Fist, for example, was basically his rage drive. Dragonov's unbreakable tackles were basically his rage drive. So what's stopping Namco from making Marduk have this as a hit, right? Imagine if you go into hit and do this 3 times. 3 times in hit, 3 rage drives worth in hit, right? That would be insane. So this thing was so busted. Even in combos, it didn't really scale. You would get over 100 damage, even like 120 at the wall. It was so OP. It was so OP, and we don't want this in Tekken 8. We don't need this in Tekken 8. God forbid Namco just, snap and bring this shit back. Rip. Okay, so now listen, I'm not saying Marduk would come back exactly the same as he was back in Tekken 7. Obviously, characters like Zafina and Lydia have come pretty nerfed, or a lot of other characters as well have come pretty nerfed from Tekken 7. So there's a huge chance that Marduk would be like very bad if he came in Tekken 7. But it's understandable as to why these fears like overweigh everything else. Like Marduk was not a fun character to fight against. He was a fun character to use. He was a degenerate character to use, but he was not fun to fight against. And for someone who used Marduk, who was my highest ranked character at some point, if I went back to Laz, I do say I do like Marduk. At the end of the day, he's the big guy that's supposed to do damage. He's a big Veltudo guy that just grab you and just do damage. We don't really have that archetype in Tekken 8. Jack isn't really a grappler to that extent, right? That's just Marduk's archetype. And I do like Marduk. I do feel he has a solid storyline as well, which is still in the balance, might I add. So I really like a conclusion to that. Marduk can work in Tekken 7 if he is heavily reworked, and mostly around the tackle and the Oki, especially at the wall. If Marduk is reworked, I would love him to make it back. And he isn't really a perfect character. Despite being very strong and broken in some cases, he had some glaring weaknesses. He lost his turn almost every time he threw out something like a down back 2, back 2, back 4. Everything was just like -9, everything was slow. Even his lows were bad in terms of frame data, so he did have some glaring weakness. Being a big body as well, he was very susceptible to like big boy combos. He also had some stuff that really didn't make sense, like he's a grappler and the big guy that did damage, but why does he have hell sweeps in Veotudo stance? Why can he mix you up in Veotudo stance? So certain things didn't really add up or didn't really fit his archetype, but overall he did fit in the system very well, and I do think he'll fit very well in Tekken 8, only if this motherfucker is reworked. He is annoying to fight against in Namco. I'll give you the pass for Marduk if you rework this character. But what do you guys think? I know most of you hate Marduk, but I have seen some Marduk lovers in my comment section here and there. So tell me, my boys, what do you think about Marduk making it back to Tekken 8? Do you think he would be as bad as he is in Tekken 7 in terms of like being toxic and all that stuff? Or would he fit very well if reworked? Let me know in the comment section. I also want to apologize about my uploads. Whenever my uploads are slow, guys, that means I'm working on character guides. So just keep that in mind and look forward to the Jin guide probably dropping over the weekend. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Please do the like, subscribe and all that YouTube jazz, and take care. And don't forget to check out the rest of my content. So GG.